The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking to Australia's zombie queen, Bianca Bradey. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Her name is Brooke, not Zombie Queen.
Dude, you scared the shit out of me. I'm like, did I get her name wrong? No, dude. We have to thank you again for this. So we have to give you credit for Norseman, because you introduced us to that. And
I find us good things to watch.
You find us good things to watch. And then you introduced us to Wyrmwood, and now here we are. We got to talk to the writer-director, and now we're talking to the zombie queen herself. This is awesome. Thank you.
This is what happened when you go down rabbit holes on YouTube. You find cool stuff, and you go, whoa, what's that?
Okay, don't get ahead of yourself. You made two good points.
Yeah, what have you found?
Also here, our ambassador of estrogen, Jude. Welcome.
Oh, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Good. Matthew Kadish, man behind the curtain. Welcome, sir.
Yes, I'm very excited to get to talk to the zombie queen herself. Just so you know, Bianca, if at any point you need to take over my body, I am willing. So good to go.
Wow. Not subtle at all.
That would be a great thing to do in life.
And the guest of honor, Bianca, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
We were thrilled to watch your movies, and it just kind of blew us away because it's so different from any other, because we love zombie movies here. We love horror and all that stuff, and
camp.
There's something so unique about Wyrmwood and you in it being this like crazy just turning into the zombie queen. That first movie, Road of the Dead, was incredible. That journey that you took in the back of that freaking van. What was it about this project that kind of drew you to it? Was there something that you were like, oh, I need to be in that? Or were you doing a favor to a friend? How did that all happen?
No, it was a dream role for me. It was funny how it came about, because I didn't audition for it. It was very organic. So I was actually living with a new flatmate at the time, and he worked with Kia at, I don't know if Kia told you, at an Aussie underwear company that specializes in like sexy men underwear. So it's like shirtless men, like with tiny little Speedos on. So it was one of those. So Kia used to do the promo videos for it, and my friend was the graphic designer. And so he sort of put me up for it. He said, I know someone that's looking for someone to play a role, and he can't find the right person. Can I introduce you? And it just sort of went from there. Me and Kia met for a coffee and really connected on the character. I saw her as sort of this Joan of Arc character that was crossed with Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. That, I don't know, she was so tough and raw and interesting, and the fact that she gets to become a zombie superhero was unbelievable. And sort of exploring that with Kia, we developed the character as we went, and he was so open to my ideas and playing, and yeah, it was unbelievable. I never actually thought that I would get to play a role like that either, because in real life I'm incredibly soft and squishy, I think. So I'm I'm all about energy and yoga and Pilates and sunshine, and it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, I've noticed it because I follow you on Instagram, and you look like such a sweetheart on Instagram. You're like, oh, I'm at the beach, guys, and I've got mimosas. And I'm like, oh, she seems like such a nice person. And then you see her in the movie, and you're like,
Zombies might like the beach.
Do you think zombies like the beach?
Sure.
Brooke likes the beach.
Beach
It is
zombies.
everything that zombies would hate, isn't it? Yeah, sunshine, happiness.
Sand.
Yeah, no.
That's really cool. I'm glad that it kind of just happened for you. What kind of things did you mentioned like you brought a lot to the character, and you kind of like created this character together with Kia. What were those kind of things? What were the personality traits that you brought to the table for her?
Well, I wanted her to be a strong female hero that wasn't necessarily feminine. I wanted her to sort of be androgynous, but still, I'm trying to word it rightly. So not take away all the femininity. I still wanted her to be a woman, but I didn't want her to necessarily be incredibly girly or need saving or be someone that was the love interest to the lead. So right from the start, we didn't want to have any sort of story arc where they were sort of going to get together or anything. So I think the funny thing is, though, they weren't brother and sister to begin with. So it was actually that I was married to his brother. and so they were sort of brother and sister-in-law or something. But it just made so much more sense to have them related. And me and Jay looked eerily alike, weirdly. um, and but there wasn't a script when I signed on, so it was sort of just a rough idea and an outline, and we were sort of going with the flow, and Kia would write each section before we shot it and see what happened, and it kept evolving and changing.
Mm-hmm.
So he let me sort of bring this Joan of Arc martyrish character, I guess, to it. It was interesting. It's I don't know. I'm trying to think what else to add to it, but that was kind of it. And I know that also Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was coming out at that time, and so it was quite big in pop culture. So I loved that tough, no emotion.
I kind of got like an Ellen Ripley almost from Alien.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And I think that's the key to writing a strong female character, is not making the character all about her being a woman, just making her a really interesting character. And I love that you said that, like, you didn't want her to be like need saving by the boy or be someone's girlfriend. And I really appreciate that as a woman who likes to see strong female characters. Every time they write someone who's like supposed to be like the hero, and then she has to fall in love or get saved, it's really annoying.
Yeah. And I love that we sort of stayed away from all those cliches, and and Kira and I did discuss, I mean, without Jay there, clearly, but we were like, she's secretly the hero of the piece, right? Like she's going to save the day. We just won't tell Jay that. It'll be fine.
So I wanted to ask, so at what point did Kia come to you and be like, all right, you're going to be tied up in the back of a truck with like a mask over your face, and the guy's going to be threatening to shove a needle up your nose. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, that wasn't that wasn't told to me at the first coffee meeting. That was,
but it became your favorite, right?
Absolutely. That was some of my favorite stuff. But that wasn't even there when we first shot the opening scenes. So in the warehouse with the zombie dressed up in the kimono. So we shot that first, and then the tied up in the back of the truck stuff happened after. So I didn't even know that was going to happen until much later in the day.
The introduction to your character in the first movie, when she's doing that photo shoot, that was like such a crazy, cool, interesting way of doing it. And I know this movie took years of development to make. Watching it, was there like something that you guys had filmed beforehand that maybe have gotten cut, or is there any part of the stories that we kind of missed for the final product?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changed, and we went back and did some reshoots. I don't know that, I mean, nothing necessarily got cut, except for changing the relationship with Jay and Brooke. I mean, Barry and Brooke. So yeah, that changed after about 3 months. So when we first shot the stuff at the beginning, we weren't brother and sister. So we did have to go back and do reshoots and change the language a little bit and add a little phone call here and there. But otherwise, nothing else got cut. That was fun. That was we were shooting in Kia and Tristan's mum's back garage. So we were in like their backyard out in the suburbs of Sydney. And it was this tiny little metal garage that just had no air whatsoever. So it was like shooting in this tiny little sweat box, and everyone was just like dripping with sweat. It was dusty. It was dirty. It was the middle of summer. And then also they just wrecked their poor mum's garage. They drilled bullet holes directly into her door.
Oh, no.
I know, poor Anna. She's a saint. She put up with a lot.
So speaking of being hot, and we talked about that box truck scene where your character, I think, spends a lot of time in the first movie. Can you tell us a little bit about like what it was like filming those scenes in the back of that truck with the zombie doctor? And that just seems like it would be so grueling, especially if, like you said, if it was in the summertime and it's so freaking hot and there's no air.
How long were you in there?
I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm gonna like dash everyone's ideas. We weren't actually in a truck.
Oh, okay.
It was a set.
Okay.
I know. It was.
So you had AC.
Yeah. We were in this giant scene warehouse. So it was like this abandoned warehouse where people would shoot photo shoots and series and stuff.
Okay.
And so they built the back of the truck in there. So you sort of walk out the front and it's just a giant.
Okay.
Well, honestly, I'm so
around.
relieved for you.
I was genuinely worried.
No, the only time we're ever in the back of the truck was when it was driving along later and you actually see us pull the door up and
Okay.
we're in a truck. But otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, it's just a nice little concrete room and everyone was chilling out. And most of the time, unfortunately, also, I didn't actually have my hands tied. I was just
Pretending.
holding on to something and pretending. Yeah.
It's called acting.
It's
Alex.
called acting. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. I'm taking away the mystery of the scene. And look, a lot of the times, like I'm not even wearing full costume. I've got Ugg boots on my feet, or if you don't see it, I'm incredibly comfortable.
So I wanted to ask you, one of the interesting things about the making of Road of the Dead is that it was shot over the course of years, over like the weekends when everyone had time to get together, and actors kind of came and went during that time period. And but you were like a constant throughout that. So what were the challenges of shooting over the course of like numerous years, as opposed to like just like a normal production schedule of like a couple of weeks or something like that?
Well, it was funny because I came in not at the beginning either, so they changed the story, and they'd already been sort of working on it for about 6 months, I think, when I started. So I was involved for about a year, which is incredibly long. And so we would do little blocks. So it would be 2 weekends together, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then everyone would go away and work their normal jobs, and the filmmakers would try and bake up some more money so that they could do the next block. And so then maybe a month or 2 or 3 months sometimes later, they would have the next shooting block. It was definitely challenging in that I had to stay looking exactly the same. I wasn't allowed to touch my hair. I wasn't allowed to change my appearance at all. And you had to, I guess, be available whenever they wanted as well. So I kind of stayed in Sydney. As soon as filming stopped, I chopped all my hair off. I think I dyed it pink for a bit and then just chopped it off and then moved away and went traveling to LA and stuff. So it was very different, but it was really fun. They became like my family, my favorite people in the whole world. So every time we got to shoot together, it was like just hanging out. Honestly, it was a joy.
That's cool. Was there alcohol involved? I do have a question about
So
alcohol.
much.
So much. Good.
We're in Australia. There's so much. Not personally while working, but I mean that's, although in Europe, I've worked on some stuff in Europe and people are drunk on set even whilst shooting. Like it's fine. It's European sensibility, but definitely not in Australia. But yes, lots and lots of men on set drinking a lot of beer at the end.
We've asked this question of a couple of Australian people that we know, but so here in America, like Foster's is like the Australian beer. But we hear that it's like absolute bottom of the barrel for you guys over there.
We don't even have it here. I don't even know where you could buy Foster's. It is
in America
purely for export. Yeah. For selling the Australian dream overseas.
It's funny.
What is the best beer over there?
Yeah.
I don't drink beer, unfortunately. Although back when I did drink beer in my younger stupid days, I actually just honestly loved VB, which is the classic. I guess it's the Australian version of Foster's that we would actually drink, which is like the shittiest, cheapest beer you can possibly find.
Is that the type you keep in medical kits?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
You want some bandages? Open it! Oh, beers.
That would be it. That would be the one. That would be the one that at the end of the world, there would be lots of it everywhere.
So we were talking to Mr. Roach Turner. I can't remember.
Kia?
Kia? Is it just Kia?
Kia,
Okay.
Kia.
I'm always terrified to mispronounce his name, so I'm just going to say Mr. Roach Turner.
So you just say it weird.
So just say it
Don't
weird.
say it. Just pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah.
He talked about there was a stunt that had been one of the major stunts in the movie that kind of went awry.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah,
about that.
were you involved in that? What's your side of the story on that?
No, it was my stunt double. So it was this lovely girl called Nanda. So she was doing all my incredible stunts, but basically they jumped from the back of one moving car onto the front of that zombie truck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was timed a little bit bad because they were driving along a highway at the time, and she almost didn't make it. She kind of gripped on and then went underneath the car. But she was okay. She only injured herself a little bit, but the weirdest injury was she kind of she grazed her boobs, like her actual boobs. And I was just like, thank God it wasn't me. And it was the stunt double. Yeah, the poor girl. She was amazing.
Did you have to do any stunts yourself? Or even if they were just, like getting that hot poker stuck in your face a couple times?
Yeah, I mean, the stunt stuff I did was mostly at the beginning in that fight scene. I was actually up in the rafters and doing all that, except, she definitely did the jump ups and the jump downs. But we did film whilst driving along the road in the back of that truck. So that was a moving truck at the time. That was fun. But other than that, I don't think my character even really does many fight stuff. I got to shoot lots of guns. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved that. But yeah, the two boys sort of got to do that big choreographed fight at the end, which my character wasn't really involved in.
Mm.
So since the script was being written as you guys were shooting, did you have any input into the story? Like, did you make any story suggestions yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Kia was so open to us being involved and sort of putting our ideas out there, and we'd have these rehearsals and get together and play it out. And we're like, no, it doesn't work. Yes, it does work. At one stage, Kia wanted my character to be a nurse, and we had a big chat about it. I was like, I don't think that she's that caring, if I'm honest. I think she's a little bit more detached and devoid of human emotion. It's definitely not something that she would choose. And he agreed, and sort of we changed her into being an artist and a photographer. So that was fun. But yeah, definitely, I definitely got to add what I thought she would wear and what I thought she would say. And I always am of the opinion that she speaks less. The less that Brooke speaks, the stronger she is. She doesn't need to say superfluous words. It's if she has something, she'll say it, but otherwise she's silent.
Is there any part of Brooke that you kind of took from your own personality? I know we talked about how different you guys are from person to person, but is there some aspect of your own life that you kind of use to draw into that character?
Yeah, definitely. I think I bring a little bit of myself to all my characters. I think what I added to Brooke was the vulnerability. So yes, she's tough and kicks ass and saves the world, but she's not infallible. And I think you can see the fear or the sadness behind her eyes. And I love to bring the softness.
So we know that Kia tried to get Wyrmwood turned into a TV show for a little while. Were you involved in that and all?
Yeah, definitely. We did that teaser for the series years ago, and we were so excited, and there was so much interest, and it was so promising, and we really wanted it to happen, and it was going to be very exciting. With they were playing with a lot of different sort of superpowers that evolved from the shots. I don't know if Kia told you that, and it was an amazing idea, and I'm so bummed it didn't happen. It would have been wonderful.
We need something to compete with The Walking Dead, because that show has literally become The Walking Dead, where it's just like a dead.
It is. It's just going on forever.
I gave up on The Walking Dead.
I did too.
So I would have loved to have seen some fresh blood injected into the zombie genre and had like Wyrmwood be the TV show. I think that would have been great.
Yeah. Well, it would have had a sci-fi aspect to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was kind of where there's a sci-fi mix in with this zombie genre with the methane and all that kind of stuff. Was the people on the set, or did you how did they react to the completely different take that he had with these zombies in this world? I mean, they're just so different. And I think that's why that I was drawn to it initially as well, because it's so cool and different. Mm-hmm. Your character, she has these mental telepathic powers to control things. And it was just so bonkers. I'm just kind of curious what everybody's initial reaction was to when they found out how different these zombies are. Is there? Yeah,
I think everyone was blown away. It was things that no one had ever thought of before. It's definitely new, and I don't think anyone's done anything like it ever since. It's mixing supernatural with zombies, which is a completely different take on it. And the breathing zombies and the methane and the powering, and then when you experiment and hybrid crossing of the zombie with a human and giving them superpowers, I don't think anyone else has still done anything like that. So it's exciting and new and completely crazy. And I think only Kia and Tristan could have thought it up.
Well, it was kind of funny because when Matt Vader first showed us the trailer for
Road of the Dead.
No, it was Apocalypse, Wyrmwood Apocalypse, a sequel. And then we found out about Road of the Dead afterwards. But when he first showed us the trailer, both or Alex, Jude, and I at the same time we were watching the trailer. And we were like, "Is that a hot zombie? So like, what's going on here? She's not like falling apart and molting or whatever."
Yeah.
I'm like, that zombie's gorgeous. Who is that?
And also we were like, this looks fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, there was that one scene where it's a new character in Apocalypse. It's the twin brother. I think the actor's name is Luke, or is that his
Luke
name?
McKenzie.
Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luke McKenzie.
He was boxing a zombie with a bird cage on its head.
Amazing.
And I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yes, give me more.
100%. Give me a zombie like training montage.
Yeah.
Training against zombies. I'm so 100% in.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
Kia's so good at that, coming up with those ideas, and because that's his sense of humor. It's just weird and wacky, and if you hang out with him, it's just constant, nonstop ideas like that.
Well, was that part of the appeal of the character where you're like, I don't have to get into like full blown zombie makeup. I can just kind of like be casual zombie, I guess.
I kept wanting more and more. I was like, just make me as scary as fuck. I want to freak people out. I want to just come onto screen and people be scared of who I am, really. Like the way Brooke was for the second one, I think she was just completely losing all humanity and turning into an animal. So I wanted more. I kept being like, more. Maybe she should have more crazy makeup. And they're like, no, we don't. We still want to make her approachable and slightly human, and so that the audience still like her a little bit. So I would have had as much as possible.
I mean, you're the main character on the poster.
Yeah.
I mean, you're selling the tickets, man. So
She gets to say.
Were the eyes contacts or CG?
Brooke, what the fuck's wrong with your eyes?
Contacts.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, contacts. Yeah, they're super cool. Honestly, all they do is put them in, and I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to act at all. I just have to stand there and look like that, and I look creepy as fuck.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then I'm sure at the end, when you're like all burned up, you were able to like shave your head or do whatever you wanted at that point with your hair.
Spoiler alert, Jude.
Yeah, once again. Well, the burned up, so yeah, spoiler alert, but the burned up stuff, I was like, just more, I would have been completely like naked and covered in burns from head to toe with like no hair, and if I could have, but they were like, no, still want to make her a little bit approachable still.
Are you getting recognized? Do people look at you and go, oh, there's Brooke from the Wyrmwood movie? When you're walking down the street, do you get any of that?
Not so much anymore. So when the first film came out, yes, definitely. And especially in the US. So because I've spent a lot of time, and I lived in LA for a while, and it definitely happened there, or also in Europe. So it has a much bigger following sort of in South America, Europe, and the US than it does here. It's Australians, it's like still a little indie zombie film that the industry knows, but not necessarily the general public.
Huh.
So I wanted to ask you, so when basically Kaya came up with the money for the sequel, Wyrmwood Apocalypse, what was the conversation there? Like, how did you find out about it? Were you excited about it? Like, how did he pitch it to you? And did you have any input in the story for your character as well?
Yeah, well, so we'd been chatting over the years. Each time there'd be an update saying, it might happen, or the script had changed, and he'd send me sort of a rough story idea. But this time I was living in Helsinki, and I remember it really clearly. It was during COVID, actually. So we were living quite normally over there, and you guys were here too, but just no travel. But there, everything was kind of open, and I remember sitting in a cafe on like the main esplanade and having my laptop there and reading the script and just getting really, really excited. I was blown away. I felt like it was going to happen this time. Like, I feel like they'd got the right mix of what to bring to it, and it was exciting, and there was lots of action. And the only thing missing, honestly, for me was I wish Brooke was in it more. I feel like I would like to see where she could have gone and what she could have done with zombie hordes. And I saw her, surrounded by hundreds of zombies and controlling them and fighting a big battle. And you never know, that might happen for the next one. But I definitely didn't contribute to the story this time. It came to me completely written, so it was very different than the first experience. But I was just excited to be back and to get to play with her again. And I definitely got to contribute in that I think I cut most of her dialogue. So I just feel like she's the silent type. Like she's an animal. She doesn't need to speak. And on set, I was always trying to add more physicality. I think for her, I was like, can she run and jump and like try and bite his face? And he'd be like, no, let's just have her standing there. It's fine. It's like, oh, I just wanted more. I wanted her to be more superhero, I guess.
How long was the shoot on the second one?
It went for I think 6 weeks to 8 weeks. So I was living overseas though, and it was during COVID, so I had to fly back from Finland for it. So during COVID it was so strange, and had to quarantine here in Australia for 2 weeks in a hotel, and then I turned up a little bit late to the shoot. They'd already started and done rehearsals, but I was just lucky to even get back, I think.
So your character, you keep talking about how like you're more animalistic in the second movie, and it definitely comes through. Like she's losing a lot of her humanity, and she's growling at people and stuff like that, which is awesome. There's a scene in particular that I think just completely blew me away, and it's one of the most creative things that they've done with zombies in a long time. Is the cyborg zombie fight? Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like filming that? You must have been stoked, because it sounds like you want more of this, and you're like, oh, finally I get to fight this giant cyborg. So can you tell us about what it was like shooting that?
Yeah, it was awesome. So the guy that played the zombie cyborg is Alex, and he's a stuntman that worked on the first one as well, so we know him really well. But he turned up on set, and he was just so scary because he's super tall as well, and just in that full makeup, it was amazing. And honestly, to sort of fight against him, I didn't really have to act much, because you are freaking out, and he's so tall and intimidating, and there's all the dark lights and the wind machines, and it was intense and full on. But I definitely wanted to do as many stunts as I possibly could. They didn't let me do as many this time. They had another stunt girl this time, Sarah, and she got to do all the sort of flying across the room stuff and being hit, and I kept being like, oh, I can do it, and they're like, no, you just stay, that you'll get hurt. We really can't afford that this time, I think, because there was a lot more policed and official rather than us just filming on the weekends. So this time there was a little bit more rules involved. But I did accidentally, I think I concussed myself while we were doing the fight scene. I did it to myself though. At one stage, he's grabbing me by the throat and pushing me against a wall, and I'm meant to just sort of act as if I'm throwing myself into the wall a bit, but I really smacked myself into the wall. And when we finished shooting, I went away and laid down in my trailer, and I think I passed out for about 2 hours. So
holy shit.
yeah, I really definitely did a little bit of damage, but it was so much fun, and I just wanted it to be as bloody and gory as possible. I was like, maybe she's like spitting blood here, and can I have her like really like being thrown across the floor? And they're like, oh yes, but they toned it down a bit, I think. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you guys were shooting during the COVID lockdowns and stuff like that. Were there any kind of unique challenges to shooting this movie compared to the first one because of the COVID restrictions?
Yeah, definitely. We had to turn up every day on set, and you had to have your temperature taken and make sure that you don't have it. And I think we were always just living sort of on the edge of our seat, waiting to see if someone got COVID and the production got shut down, because that was happening to a lot of productions. And so during it, I was definitely very, very careful, and I wasn't really going out and seeing friends as much as I would have been. I think we all just stayed at home a lot, and we were staying out on set for a lot of it at this caravan park. I don't know if you have caravan parks, trailer parks.
Yeah, we
sort
do.
of. Yeah. So here in Australia, we have these things called caravan parks, where it's like an upscale version. So it's like a hotel combined with a trailer park. So we're all just living out there whilst we were filming. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It sounds like you guys had a really tight relationship with the production and with the other actors and stuff like that. Did you guys did you guys pull pranks on each other? Did you guys have any fun stories about being on set, just kind of burning time?
Yeah, it was. They're definitely like my brothers, because it was a lot of the same people came back for the sequel. Luckily, so many of the crew were the same, so it was the same makeup artist as well. Like Marielle, she's phenomenal what she creates. She's a genius. But sitting in the trailer getting ready, it was just Luke and Marielle and Jay and me in the mornings most of the time. And Luke and Marielle just so funny. I would just be sitting there laughing every single morning. Just I couldn't contain myself. That was some of my funnest times. And also a good mate of mine, Jake Ryan, joined the production this time, and so whenever he's on set, it's just mayhem and chaos. He played he was the bald character. I can't remember what his character was. The captain, the colonel, the captain. Most of the pranks though were probably Tristan, the producer, I would say. So he's got a really quirky little sense of humor. No one did anything to me personally.
Okay.
They wouldn't dare.
They wouldn't dare. Don't upset Don't upset the queen. That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is so like a little bit of a spoiler here in Wyrmwood Apocalypse. There's a scene where it looks like your character gets killed off. And I know that when Jude and I were watching that, we were like, no.
Oh, I was upset.
Yeah, we were all upset. Yeah, we were all very upset at that scene. And so like, I was wondering, because like you do come back at the end, like the big reveal, I was wondering like, what was your character originally supposed to actually be killed off? And like, you know, like what was the mentality behind bringing you guys back?
Well, yeah, during the production, it kept changing. I don't think me or Jay ever really knew if we were going to be coming back. So even before filming it, at some stage, there was times when it was just going to be Brooke's character coming back and not Barry. And then on the day of shooting it, they're like, right, no, you're both coming back. We're going to do the scene. And then even filming it, we're like, will it make the edit? We don't know. Like you just, as actors, you have no idea what's gonna happen in the final cut and what's going to make it onto the screen. So I was fingers crossed. I was hoping that she would still survive and come back, and me and Jay were sitting there on set being like, God, I hope that, you know, we survive, and if there is a third one, that we get to come back and play again. But you never know.
I feel like Brooke has had such a metamorphosis throughout the first two movies that this kind of just sets up that her going full like animal zombie. Like the first one, we see her go from like human to zombie queen, but not really explore that except for like the last scene. And then the second one is all about her exploring like her power. And then like that last scene in the second movie is all just like, oh, shit is about to get fucking serious. And I really hope that there's going to be a third one where she's just like out for blood and brains.
Yeah. I mean, me too. That would be amazing. I love if there was a third one, and then they got to basically just go on a revenge rampage, wouldn't it? It'd be them and their zombie horde just killing everyone. It'd be amazing. You sort of see them going and attacking the big army base, I guess, with their hundreds of zombies, and the fights would be phenomenal.
Yeah, this is the series where we root for the zombies.
This is
100%.
Yeah, the zombies are the good guys.
Yeah,
if we're watching these movies and like us as a consumer, we're just watching this, and I can imagine like, okay, so our two main characters that we fell in love with in the first movie are now the leader of the zombie horde. Yeah, we're rooting for the zombies.
Yeah. And Reese is going to become a zombie too because he's going to run out of pills.
Yeah.
It's going to be Brooke and Barry, the series.
I'd watch that. Brooke and Barry. So we've seen your character kind of like Jude said, like kind of just morph into a creature at this point. Do you have any ideas on like what new powers she might explore? Do you have any like for this character? What do you want to see something weird and new come out of being a zombie queen?
Yeah, well, definitely me. I mean, I haven't even discussed it with Kia at all, but I guess my own, what I would love to see for Brooke, is her ability to control hundreds of zombies. And then also I would like to have her sort of have increased powers. Like I'd love to see her have increased strength and ability. It's almost like a zombie superhero where she can jump really high and is super strong and can almost, I guess, like punch through walls. Like you just see her being indestructible. Like because she is completely not human anymore. And I would definitely love to see her to keep the sort of the burns and the disfiguration and just be incredibly creepy.
How long did you have to sit in the makeup chair to get up for that last scene?
Oh, that last scene, that took a while. So Marielle, the makeup artist, she put the burn pieces all over. I think it took about 2 or 3 hours, so not too bad.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I was still clothed a little bit. I was like, I don't understand how the clothes would survive.
Right, but
the
whatever.
explosion,
We're going
right?
with it.
Like, I was like, okay. That's fine. I was so happy to be completely nude and walking out, but getting it off actually was the real pain. I don't know if you guys have ever played with special effects and blood, but it is incredibly sticky, and so everything is stuck to your body and it is covered in all that blood and the black. And my hair was completely covered in it as well. My hair stayed pink for a few months. I think I just couldn't get it out. Like that red blood completely stained my hair.
So I wanted to ask you, what are the odds of a third Wyrmwood movie? And can you spill any tea on conversations you had with Kia about what the storyline might be?
My honest to God answer is that there hasn't been any discussions. I'm so sorry. Like we're all living in hope. And I remember being on set and we're all, even the producers were like, so if there's a third one, you'll come back, right? And I was like, yeah, of course. If there's a third film, I am in. And we always talk about it as like this amazing dream and to see where the characters would go. But honestly, we haven't ever got together and said it's going to happen. I guess it's all dependent on if audiences are interested or if they get financial backing. It's
all in favor. Say aye.
Yeah,
aye.
We need to start like some sort of online petition or something to bring it back for a third one. It'd be amazing.
Absolutely. I think we're trying to spread the word about these movies over here in the States. I know the first one definitely is very much an independent film. Filmed on the weekends with just scraping together as much money as you guys can. But that's some of the best movies and most creative movies are the ones like that. Mm-hmm. And we love finding these little gems, and we're so glad to have found your movie. And thank you so much for chatting with us, because that's super cool as well. We always kind of nerd out. We're like, we just watched these people on TV. We nerded out about their movie, and now we're talking with them. It's so cool. Yeah. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you real quick, what other projects are you working on? What other stuff can we see you in? And, what's next for Bianca Bradey?
I have to be honest, I'm not really acting anymore. So even before this Wyrmwood, because I was living in Europe and COVID had hit, and I slowed down a little bit and realized I didn't necessarily want to pursue that extreme life anymore. I was much more content with I do my yoga and my Pilates every day, and I've taken up doing pottery, and I'm just trying to enjoy life a little bit more, because I was definitely concentrating on my career for a lot of years there. So I kind of came out of quitting acting for the sequel. If the third one happens, I would definitely keep going. If the right project came along as well, I'm always open to it. But yeah, at the moment I'm concentrating on life.
Nice.
Okay, so
jealous.
Going in that vein, I have another question for you, because you posted something on your Instagram. You had sprained your ankle or broken your foot or something like that. And when I was like, oh no, what happened? Yeah. You said coral reef in Thailand is always going to be a zombie queen or something along those lines. And I was like, what the heck? There's got to be a story behind that. Yeah. So can you tell us what happened?
Oh man, it was just an epic debacle. I was over in Thailand. I did my yoga teacher training in Koh Samui. So I was there for 30 days, and then I just decided to cancel my flights and just travel and go on a bit of a yoga odyssey for a while. So I was there for an extra 3 weeks, but I was just walking along the beach one day and I trod on something on the beach, and I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. But it started to get infected after about 2 or 3 days, and it started to get really red, and there was something in there. So I went to the hospital, and they ended up cutting out a little section of my foot. And,
oh my God.
And then it got infected again. And so then I had to get more foot cut out. And then I jumped on like this emergency plane to come back to Australia. And by the time I got here, there was a giant hole in the sole of my foot.
Oh, no.
And then I had to go to hospital here as well and get a third surgery. And so I was off walking for about 6 weeks. I've just started again, and it's very exciting. I will never, ever take for granted mobility and just actually being able to walk around on my own 2 feet.
Do you think that if you had done nothing, you would have turned into a zombie? Just curious.
Let's hope so. I could have just taken over my entire body, and I think it'd be like a coral zombie though.
Coral reef zombie? That might actually be badass.
It'd be interesting.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, well, that could be the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're kind of a globetrotter then. You talked about you've been to all these different countries and you had to fly back to Australia for filming and stuff like that. And this is all part of training to be like a yoga instructor or a Pilates instructor. Is that what that's about?
Well, the Thailand was, but I just love travel. I love to see the world, and luckily with my job, I've gotten to do that. So I've done a film and a TV series in Finland. I've done a movie and a short film in Germany, and I've worked in the US. I just love being able to travel around for my work and see new places. It's definitely a passion of mine. I just wanna see everywhere.
Do you speak a ton of different languages? How do you get by in all these different countries?
No, I mean you learn, enough to be polite to get by, but I did try and learn Finland when I was living in Helsinki, and it is unlearnable. It is in the top 5 hardest languages of the world. It's ridiculous. Even acting in because I was in a Finnish TV series speaking Finnish the whole time. Luckily, my character was a tourist. So I was a Spanish prostitute in the 1970s. Just a bit of typecasting there. And I had to speak Finnish very badly, thank God, because it was awful. Yeah.
I'm just always glad that most people in other countries learn English as a second language, whereas we don't.
Thank God.
I feel like we're like the laughing stock. Like, you only know one language.
You're lazy Americans.
Lazy Americans.
Yeah. I wish I spoke more languages. I think it's beautiful, and anyone that can speak multiple languages, I find incredibly sexy. I think it's amazing.
Right on. Is there any other questions?
I'm out.
You're out.
I was wondering, have you had any kind of like exposure to the community that has kind of like sprung up around these Wyrmwood movies? Because, I'm sure that there's like a convention presence somewhere where people are like, oh, like Wyrmwood, like we're geeking out because zombies are very popular. Have you had any, do you have any stories you can tell us about your interaction with the community?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Wyrmwood's been wonderful. It's when the first one came out, none of us sort of realized what a success it was going to be. And so even I had Instagram and Facebook just doing my own personal stuff there, but all of a sudden I had so many followers and people messaging me, and I ended up having to change my name on Facebook, and I turned my Instagram, I guess, into more of a public thing. So it wasn't quite so personal. But anytime I ran into fans when we were promoting the film, I did some conventions here in Australia, and we did some screenings at film festivals in the US and Europe. The fans were amazing, and they're so excited and loyal, and they're so into the zombie genre. It blew my mind, and I just felt so grateful to be involved in that and to have people love what we did as well. And love the character and think that what we created was amazing. I don't know, just felt so lucky and blown away.
So I wanted to ask you if you have any kind of influence with Kia at all. What are the odds of Benny's long lost identical twin coming back for the third movie?
I know. Well,
Oh
well, apparently anything
Benny.
can happen. Yeah, look, if Luke can have a twin brother that comes back, the captain, I think Benny definitely can, and I know that it would be amazing to have Leon back on set. He's such a character. He was so much fun, and just the most Australian guy ever. Definitely love to sit around at the end of the day and have a beer and tell great stories. Like, he was just so beautiful. I think he should come back, and Keith as well, Frank.
I think that's one of the things that makes the Wyrmwood movie so charming is like that Australian humor. Like when those guys are trapped in that garage and they're surrounded by zombies, and it's like, hey, can we come in there? And they're like, oh yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
Can we come inside? There's fucking zombies everywhere.
Yeah, it was so fun.
I would like to put forward the storyline of cloning so that you can have those people come back.
That's a great idea. Yes. Did you tell Kia that one? Because it's
I don't
brilliant.
think
I don't think
did.
we did, but
I don't
we
think
will
I did.
now.
You
for
can
sure.
you can take it.
Brilliant.
It's
Take it.
yours.
All right, yeah, I'll tell him.
He'll probably watch this interview.
I'll take credit for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clones versus zombies.
There you go.
How great would that be?
Amazing.
Clones versus zombies.
Yeah, starring Mark Wahlberg.
Oh Jesus!
Zombie clones as weapons.
Ooh.
We're getting there.
Yes. Imagine having like 100 Brooks and Barrys. That'd be
I mean, it's
amazing.
more work for you, but I would love it.
I'd love it too. Done.
So I follow your Instagram and I love it. Your posts are always awesome. And like you said, you're globe trotting, you're going all over the place, taking beautiful pictures. Where can people follow you on Instagram?
So it's just my name at Bianca_Bradey. And then also I've got my Facebook page as well. And Twitter, not that I'm on Twitter much anymore, but every now and then I go on there and repost some stuff.
I try not to use Twitter.
I just never understood Twitter. I just never got it. I don't know what people are just saying witty things. Basically, it's
well, some of us are blue check marks.
Oh God!
So like we're very important on Twitter, and that's our chosen platform.
Love it.
He's important on Twitter.
But yeah,
Settle down.
I'm sure she could get a blue check mark very easily if she wanted.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Vader, do you have anything you want to say before you sign off?
Thank you for hanging out with us today. I love your movies, and it's just awesome. I'm always kind of flummoxed and never know what to say when I'm talking to people I've watched in movies. So thank you again for hanging out and speaking to us.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find you, bud?
You can find me at MattVader74 on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
All right.
Yada, yada, yada.
Cool.
So,
Jude, final thoughts?
Same. I just want to say thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm very excited for your yoga and Pilates training, but I'm also kind of bummed out that you're not going to be doing more that I could watch you do. Yeah, thank you so much for sitting down with us. And I love the view that you have in your new apartment. Congrats on the new pad.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And where can people find you?
You can find me at thevoiceofjude.com. Check out my voice work. And you can find me at I am Jude Juju on the socials.
All right. Kadish.
Bianca, thank you so much for coming on with us today. It was a real treat to get to talk to you, and also those ideas totally your guys's. Like we won't claim any financial reward for offering them.
But if you need zombie extras,
we will come to Australia.
Yeah, come to
Yes.
Australia.
Love to.
Come join us.
Yeah, but thank you so much. You guys can check me out on Twitter at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, and you can also go to kadishbooks.com, check out my books, and to sign up for our newsletter over at saltylist.com.
All right. Bianca, again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I've had a blast checking your Instagram stuff out and chatting with you on Instagram. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you for being open to talking with us. That's a big deal for us. You know, we reach out to a lot of people to come on the show, and most of the time we get ghosted, but sometimes we get somebody who's like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm so glad you're a fan. And it's been such a pleasure hanging out and chatting with you today. So thank you so much for being open to hang out.
And if we can contribute to the Kickstarter for Wyrmwood 3, just let us know.
Wyrmwood 3.
Yeah, you got 4 fans right here with a social media presence. That'll help you out for sure. You guys, if you guys like you're welcome. If you guys like what we do here at the podcast, you guys can support us at saltynerdclub.com. We would love to have you. We talk about classic sci-fi every single week with our club members. So consider joining us. And everybody else, thank you so much for joining us on this interview. We've had a ton of fun. Thanks for being here. Comment below what your favorite part of Wyrmwood is, and stay salty.